Have you been trying to sing for so long that you just feel like giving up? Well, if that's you, then this video is for you because I myself have been there many times along my singing journey. If you don't know me, my name is Jim. I'm a professional singer for almost 40 years and a professional vocal coach for over 20 years. And in all that time, I went through ups and downs with my voice through so many things. Losing my voice at the start because I was using too much air. I didn't know, how do I control this? Then I figured that out. And then I was singing rock with kind of too much compression. And anyway, so many ups and downs. And then the two worst of all is when I lost my voice to COVID, for one, back in December 2021. I got COVID really bad. Long story, but I was coughing up blood for about 6 weeks. That was during lockdown when we couldn't perform for 2.5 years. So there was, no gigs. I wasn't singing. I wasn't keeping up with the practice. Plus, I had COVID and the coughing just destroyed my voice. Then later on, a couple of years later, I got the gift that COVID gave me. I'm smiling about this now. I'm laughing about it because I can laugh because I'm through that. Is Hashimoto's, which was caused by COVID. So I had COVID voice for a long time. Finally got that back. And then Hashimoto's came in and kicked me in the nuts. So, and that was a long time, about 2 years, kind of getting back on track from that. And kind of, both of those just threw a monkey wrench in my system of vocals. So if you're thinking, I just don't know if I'm ever going to get this, there is hope for you. Trust me. It's just down to the coordinations, learning the different coordinations of your body that have to happen at the same time. And I'm going to get into the two biggest kind of coordination, the biggest coordination areas, especially if you're an older vocalist. So, if you're 40 or over or around 40 or over, things get more difficult. And I understand this myself because after then, that's when it started to get more difficult for me. I had to think more about the physicality of singing because singing is a physical activity. So if you're having difficulty with singing, you probably aren't taking the physical aspect of it into consideration enough. So those physical coordinations are really easy to learn. Are they easy to implement? That depends on how passionate about singing you are. If you really want to sing and you want to improve, and get your voice to a certain level, you have aspirations of, being in a band or being a rock star or whatever, then you're going to be more passionate about it. You're going to put the work in to getting those coordinations down. And like I said, there's not that many coordinations that are involved in the body. It's easy to learn. It's as far as the implementation of these, it just depends on how much work you put into it. It's kind of like a car. I like to use that analogy, like learning to drive a car. And I'm talking a manual transmission because it's more complex. The more you have to do. So you get into the car. Like if you're thinking about, I have to get into a car. I have to teach somebody to get into a car. Well, what do you teach them first? Well, okay, I have to push the clutch in, right? Because some cars you have to push the clutch in to even turn it on. So, you have to push the clutch in. Then what do I do? Okay, then now you shift it into gear. Okay, I'm shifting it into gear. Is your foot on the brake? You have to have your foot on the brake now because you don't want to be rolling. Okay, so foot on the brake. I have the clutch in, a foot on the brake. So there's a lot of different, you can think about those individually at the start, but it takes time to know, okay, now I have to shift, okay, and then now, okay, when now I take the foot off the brake and put it on the gas now, okay, and now I push the gas. Now I have to slowly, I have to manage this on the gas and take the foot off the clutch at the same time as steering and looking in the mirrors and making sure I'm not going to hit anything. Yes, that's what you have to do. So there's, this is all of this, the kind of physical coordinations that have to happen that you learn over time. But if you just looked at a car, you've never seen a car before, and you just looked at a manual transmission car, good luck trying to figure out what to do when. It would take you a long time to even figure out, okay, I have to push the clutch in to put it in gear. You'd just be looking at these pedals. There's 3 pedals. I don't know what does what. Vroom, okay, that does that. This one doesn't seem to do anything. Yeah, that's the brake because you're stopped and you have the handbrake on, the emergency brake. So you see that analogy, I think, works pretty well because there's really that many different coordinations that have to happen. The clutch and the gas pedal is a little bit like the mechanisms of the vocal folds. It's also a little bit like the mechanisms of the breath support. So you have your breath support going on, kind of like the clutch and the gas, these kind of 2 things happening here. And then you have the clutch and the brake between your TA muscles and your CT muscles, or the clutch and the gas between those. You know, how much gas do you give to the CT muscle? And then you have to give a little more gas to the TA muscle if you're pushing into it a little bit more, if you're getting more into the full chest voice. So you can see there's a lot of things about driving a manual transmission car that are similar to the body, the workings of the singing. If you're not sure something's wrong with your car, you're not sure what it is, you could do 2 things. You could take the car to a qualified mechanic and have them diagnose and fix the problem, or you could get your hands dirty and get in there, whatever the reason. If you want to, you want to save money. I'm just going to say, like, you think you're saving money, but in the end, you may be making things worse. Because if you just get in there and you think like, okay, I'm going to try and figure this out. Okay. So I think it's the fan belt. You change the fan belt. Oh no, it's still not working. Maybe it's the fuel filter. Okay. I'll change the fuel filter. No, it's still not working. And you get down, you start changing all these things, and it's something that you didn't even know about. It's the flux capacitor. But no, I'm just equate this to a time where I had this pickup truck and the head gasket blew. And me being like El Cheapskate was like, hey, asking my friends, does anybody know how to change a head gasket? Because I took it to the shop. The guy was like, your head gasket's blown. It's going to cost you, I don't remember how much it was, but it was more than I had. So I asked a friend to help me change the head gasket. He was like he was a good mechanic. I asked him to change it. Or help me change it, right? It was both of us. And it took 2 days. And it was excruciating. Two days and a couple of cases of beer, because that's all he was like, just buy me beer. I was like, should you really be drinking while you're like changing my head gasket? It's pretty important, right? Anyway, we got it fixed and it worked for a while until other things went bad. But it took a lot of work to get there. And I couldn't have done it on my own. Like, there was no way. If I tried to change the head gasket on my own, forget about it. I wouldn't have ever. But when we're thinking about our voice, we just sometimes go, I'll figure it out. I'll just watch a YouTube video about this or that. No, I think it's okay. No, it's not about, okay, I have to breathe like this. Okay, no, it's the yawn. Now, okay, tilt the cricothyroid and raise the soft palate. There's all these things, and you start going down these routes. Okay, here's how you add distortion. Okay, and then you push into it, and like you're lifting something heavy. So the coordinations are getting all confused because you're not working with someone who's like, no, you have to do this when you do this, and you do that when you do that. This is how all the coordinations work together. A couple of things about singing that I think, especially with older singers, what I find with them, because I work with a lot of older singers, usually 40 and over, somewhere around there. I have some younger, but the support is lacking. And it's only because, number one, they don't understand the importance of support. And what I mean, support it's kind of a mysterious thing. And a lot of people teach it wrong. If you're not sure how to use your support correctly, there's a link down below for my free course, Kickstart Your Voice. I get into that in there, among other things. So to understand your support, it's more like the controlled outflow of air. Too many people on the internet talk about this kind of forceful, like that's support. Support is like, add more support is like, huh, huh, huh. Like there is a some minor truth to the abs kind of getting involved, but not to that extent. This kind of forceful pushing, the force part of it is the thing that I think so many people get wrong. I mean, even if vocal coaches talk about that, and I'm just like, don't stop talking about this forceful, because it just makes singing harder to do that. Think about the word support. If you have a support beam in a house, the support beam is there to hold up the floor above it. There's no pushing of the floor above. The support beam is just there to support. That's the word support. So when people think about singing, because too many people talk about support being like, add more support, like that's pushing. And once you start realizing, okay, support is more about control than force, then you're on the right track. So that's one of the big things that I think physicality, the physicality of singing is difficult to manage, especially difficult to manage, I think, on your own. Difficult to learn and implement on your own. The other thing is to do with your vocal folds, right? The closure of your vocal folds. And because especially as male singers, as we get old and we're talking with our big manly voice a lot of times, we have this kind of over closing of the vocal folds, like like, hey, Tony Robbins, hey guys, my name is Tony. If you've ever heard him, like that is a severe closing down of the vocal folds. So we have the muscles on the side of the vocal folds, the thyroarytenoid muscles that close the vocal folds. But because we're talking like this a lot, and hey, or shouting or whatever, like if you're shouting, those TA muscles will tend to like try to close the vocal folds down so you can make that sound because you're forcing a lot of air. But, because we're so used to this, our speaking voice, as older males, we're so accustomed to hearing our speaking voice when we go to try and sing, and we need to focus more on the CT muscle, which stretches the vocal folds to get a higher sound. Right? You stretch the vocal folds. It's like a guitar string. You stretch the vocal folds and they can get a higher sound, a higher pitch. But it's hard for especially older male singers to get comfortable with that. That kind of, that's CT dominant, right? You hear me making that sound, you go, how am I supposed to get comfortable with that sound? It sounds funny. But the more you get comfortable with that and learn to stretch your CT muscles, the more you're going to be able to sing the higher stuff that you want to. Now, as I said, there is a balance between the CT muscles and the TA muscles, like the gas and the clutch. So because if you want to put more kind of a chesty voice into that, that requires a little bit more closure of the vocal folds. So the TA muscles have to get involved a little bit, but not too much to where I'm going, see, I can't even get up there because the TA muscles are closing down so hard, and the CT muscles, they can't stretch because they're being closed so hard. So they can't stretch like to hit that higher note. So you're limiting yourself then. So those are the kind of two main coordinations that I see, especially in older vocalists. So I do want to, like, if you're thinking about giving up because you haven't figured out all those coordinations, I just want to say you can get through it. There's ways to get through it. Number one, you could do it on your own, which is what I did because I didn't think anybody was going to understand my dilemma between those two things, COVID or Hashimoto's. I was like, I never heard anybody talking about these as far as, somebody being a vocal coach, getting through them. So I was like, well, nobody's going to understand what my dilemma is. And the other thing was possibly a little bit of ego, like I'm supposed to be a professional singer and I'm supposed to be a vocal coach. How can I go to a vocal coach if I'm supposed to be these things. Like what's, so there was a little bit of that involved. So I did it all on my own. It took me a long time. I had to backtrack. So this is why I think, as bad as having COVID and Hashimoto's were for my voice, I'm glad that they happened to me, because I had to relearn how to sing from the ground up. I had to go, okay, so the way I was singing before, when I was younger and these things never affected me before, I could muscle my way through things. So you see, a lot of guys on the internet that kind of muscling their way through. Well, I see it. Okay, I see it. And I go, there's a lot of effort. They're just putting so much effort into the singing. It doesn't have to be that effortful. But that's where I had to relearn everything, because I couldn't muscle my way through things. I couldn't, I couldn't stretch and do the TA muscle like I could when I was younger. For whatever reason, like, getting older, the 2.5 years off that I had when I wasn't like in vocal shape. Like, singing is a physical activity. Once you get there, you really have to maintain it. It's like if you use it or lose it. Like that's the main point. But it took me a long time to get to where I'm at now. From when I had COVID, took me a long time to get my voice back eventually. And when I got it back from that, then Hashimoto's came along and made it worse again. And then I had to kind of restart everything. Fortunately, the first time when I had COVID and I had to relearn everything, I traced my steps back to kind of what works, everything that was working and what wasn't. And I put them in a program called Rapid Vocal Transformation. You guys may have heard about it. Whatever. I'll put a link. There's a link down below if you want to check it out. But I put everything from the ground up in there. And it's just simple. I mean, it's just because I said I want to keep it simple, like for myself. I was like, there's no point in me making, like 10 different videos on like kind of mixed voice or whatever. I was like, I want to put this together so I can help people that have had vocal struggles like me get there faster. Because I see lots of things online, because I follow everybody and I see things. Oh, here's my course with 100 videos, and like there's 10,000 hours of videos that you have to watch. And I'm like, what? Like, it does not take that long to learn those coordinations. Like I mentioned, there's a specific set of coordinations physically that you have to learn what to do. Once you learn those, then you can just put those into practice and keep working on those. But anyway, so I didn't want this to be like drawn out that long. I just want to say, if you're thinking about quitting, don't. Just get there. Either work with someone. It doesn't have to be me. I don't care. Work with someone. Get there faster, because I know the pain that I went through trying to figure it all out myself, trying things, and then it didn't work, and I'd get depressed, and then I'd end up hating on my voice because like I couldn't sing things, and I couldn't figure out why I was cracking. I couldn't figure out why I couldn't hold a note out. There was just so much pain and depression from not being able to sing the things I wanted to sing. I don't want you to go through that. So, long story short, don't go through it. Find some help. Whatever you do, just know that you can get through it. Okay, so I hope you like this video. If you do, share it with someone. Maybe someone's older and you say, okay, hey, maybe this person needs it. Just some hope. If you know somebody that's struggling with their voice and they need hope, give this to them, because I've been through everything with my voice. Literally think I've been through everything with my voice. And I'm out the other side now. And this is what I'm passionate about. Passionate about helping other people solve their vocal struggles. So thanks for watching. Rock your best vocals, where your best keeps getting better. See you on the next one. Cheers.